Hello everybody, Relana Harris Mapugilo, Boss Talk with Relana, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I have 30 plus years in the entertainment business. My experience runs deep. I have a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss, and I'm sharing a lot of information and a lot of details and a lot of my experience. So much can be shared, so much can be learned. People can be educated, people can have knowledge, people can pull from things that I know of, people can take away from the things that I've experienced. And that's a very important thing, to be able to not only go through things and live through things and experience things, but to share them. It's one thing to have all this experience, all this knowledge, all this time spent, and then it's another thing to bottle it all up and not share. For years, I've kept a lot of things to myself because I felt that it was necessary. But I feel that in time, with age, we become wiser and we feel that and know that to share is something that is, number one, of God, and number two, is necessary. Because you don't want to keep everything for yourself. Give, share. People can learn. You can save somebody else from going through things, whether good or bad. It's not always bad. We want to focus on the good, but we have to be always mindful of the bad things that can occur as well. So with my boss talk, I always stress being aware, being smart, being knowledgeable, not being led, and never being deceived. You see, nothing is more powerful than being in command of your own life, being in command of what you feel is best for you and what you want to do. A lot of times in this business, you give up a lot of things. You give up a lot of your rights. You give up a lot of self. You give up your materials. You give up things that should be kept to you and for you. But when you're young and in the business, or any age, but when you're young and coming up, young and growing and rising, the thing that you focus on most is getting in the business, being successful, your dreams and goals, putting yourself in alignment with opportunities that can make what you're wanting to happen sooner than later. And so these are the things that go on in your youth. But as you get older, you see that a lot of the things that you were striving for and fighting for and going those extra miles for, some of those things you didn't have to do. But always hindsight is what? 2020. So you have to go through those things to get to the place that you are today. So for me, all those things that I went through in the beginning was necessary. It was necessary for me to go through a lot of the things that I went through. And I mean that in a positive way, because I didn't go through a lot of negative things at all. I didn't go through anything negative. I went through what I had to go through in the music business to be able to become who I was meant to become in the business as an artist. And some things you have to make decisions, strong decisions, because some things take you to another level. And sometimes going to that next level means you have to do certain things or make adjustments. And sometimes you have to think, do I want to do that? Do I want to sacrifice that? And sometimes sacrificing is not always meant in a bad way, because we know that you have to sacrifice in life to make positive things happen. But what do you want to sacrifice? How do you sacrifice? What will you give up? What will you do to make these things happen? Me, myself, I was willing to drive miles. I was willing to fund my career. I was willing to do all these things, have sleepless nights. I was willing to be up at studios singing when other people were partying. I was willing and happy about what I was doing because I loved what I was doing. And to this day, I love what I do. So when I was younger, I wasn't about the parties. I wasn't about the clubs. I wasn't about a lot of the things that a lot of people my age were into. That was just me. I was focused, so focused on my career, so focused on what I needed to do. At a very young age, I decided to move to California. This was back in '96. And so when I think about the years that I put in what I love, it doesn't even match to me because I don't even think about it as work. It's what I love to do, and that's just it. When you love something, you have to be willing to put in the work and sometimes not get anything in return. Spending the money and sometimes not making the money. Sometimes making the money comes later, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be good with that because that's just the name of the game. So in this business, you have to understand that it's not always going to be lights. It's not always going to be flashy. It's not always going to be cameras. It's not always going to be action. You got to be willing to do what the next person is not willing to do. And I say that in a way where it's all up to you what you do. And I don't mean that in a way that is negative. Because as I said before, every sacrifice, we all know, just having common sense, is not negative. But what are you willing to sacrifice? That's the key question. What are you willing to sacrifice? I sacrificed leaving my hometown, leaving my family, my grandparents. I sacrificed a lot of things, but I would come back and forth. I would still come back and check on my loved ones, but I had to do what I had to do. With all that being said, I still had to check on my grandparents, make sure that they were okay. Still keep a family in home front. I traveled to Las Vegas, lived there. Traveled to Florida, Miami, lived in all these places. And I was willing because it's what I loved. And it's what I will always love. My career came first. And even when it comes to dating, having relationships, in the beginning, at a young age, I had to be focused. I had my relationships. However, I had to be focused. My career needed to come first. It had to come first because I was locked in. So all this goes into becoming successful. You can't become an icon doing everyday regular things. You can't be an ordinary person just doing everyday, regular, ordinary things. You have to be an extraordinary person to do extraordinary things. And that's just it. Greatness doesn't come easy. You have to work at it. You have to work at what you do. And even though what you love is not work, it is work because you have to be ready. You have to get up. You have to apply yourself and be ready. When you're passionate about something, you can be passionate and you're passionate about what you love and being a perfectionist, but it's your job to be the best at what you do. Boss Talk with Relana is a platform that I've created to be able to speak to you out there, to help someone, to help you in any way I can, to mentor, help someone be the best you that you can possibly be, because I've been there. I've lived it. I still live it to this day. And when you love what you do, you should be ultimately able to share what you do with someone else. And I love working with younger people. I love it. Boss Talk with Relana. I give it to you straight. There's no other way. Join me every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We go deep. We think high. Blessings. Relana loves you. I'll see you then.